By the 1990s, the coffee shop had become a fixture of American life, serving as the default hangout spot in sitcoms like Friends and populating street corners in cities across the country at a record pace. Dunkin' expanded to 10,000 locations nationwide, pouring an estimated 60 cups of coffee every single second. Starbucks reached that same milestone a decade earlier. Their scale is so massive, they purchase 3% of the world's coffee supply. These two giants dominate the same market and sell the same core product to many of the same people. But beneath these similar success stories, the two companies run their businesses in ways that are practically opposites. To understand how to build a massive business empire, we must look at how Starbucks and Dunkin' succeeded by following entirely different blueprints for dominance. Dunkin' began in the Boston area in 1948. Long before it was a global chain, it started as a food truck specifically designed to serve factory workers during their shifts. Founder Bill Rosenberg dropped out of school at age 14 to help support his family during the Great Depression. That personal history cemented Dunkin's identity as a fast, no-nonsense brand for the working class. Starbucks launched in Seattle in 1971 with a different perspective. Its three founders, a magazine writer and two teachers, were primarily interested in the hobby of sourcing and roasting premium coffee beans. When Howard Schultz bought the company in the 1980s, he pivoted the business toward a high-end retail experience. Schultz was inspired by the cafes he saw on a trip to Milan. He wanted to recreate that Italian atmosphere in America, turning the coffee shop into a third place to spend time between home and work. These identities split the map geographically. Dunkin' became the eastern powerhouse, while Starbucks dominated the west. Out of 10,000 Dunkin' locations, 9,000 are east of the Mississippi. But in Starbucks' home turf of Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, there are 0 Dunkin' restaurants. This geographic dominance was a direct result of building brand vibes that resonated with the specific regional cultures and economic classes of each coast. To grow quickly, Dunkin' became one of the first major restaurant chains to rely on aggressive franchising, starting as early as the 1950s. This model defines the company today. Over 99% of Dunkin' locations are owned and operated by independent franchisees who pay for the right to use the brand. Because the central company doesn't have to manage every storefront directly, it became an attractive asset for massive conglomerates to buy, sell, and bundle together. This led to the 1989 deal that paired Dunkin' with Baskin-Robbins, creating the combination ice cream and donut storefronts that became common across the country. Starbucks took the exact opposite approach. They have consistently refused to franchise their standalone US locations, choosing instead to remain an independent company that owns its stores. By keeping centralized corporate control over every location, Starbucks ensures that the quality and premium perception of the brand are protected at every single counter. Dunkin' scaled by empowering independent operators to handle the details. Starbucks scaled by holding on to those details to guarantee a specific customer experience. Despite their success, both brands eventually had to change. In the 1990s, Dunkin' was vulnerable because they were still seen primarily as a bakery, where coffee was just a side item for donuts. To fight back, Dunkin' began a massive shift into the beverage market, adding complex espresso drinks, lattes, and flavored coffees to a menu that once focused on the oven. This culminated in 2018, when the company officially dropped the word donuts from its name to confirm its transition into a beverage-first brand. Starbucks did the reverse. While Dunkin' was moving toward coffee, Starbucks began acquiring bakeries and pushing items like cake pops and fresh food to capture the breakfast crowd that Dunkin' once owned. Market pressure eventually forced these two opposites to adopt elements of each other's menus, simply to prevent one side from gaining a total monopoly on the morning commute. The success of these two chains proves that market dominance doesn't require a single, standardized way of doing business. Dunkin' won through decentralized growth and blue-collar speed. Starbucks won through corporate ownership and a premium atmosphere. But now, both of these models are being challenged. Fast food giants like McDonald's are improving their coffee quality, while drive-through-only brands like Dutch Bros are expanding with much lower overhead. There is also the international threat of China's Luckin Coffee, which has already begun opening locations in the US market. As the industry evolves, the real test isn't whether Starbucks and Dunkin' can defeat each other, but whether their long-established business models can survive the next generation of the coffee wars.